Hello everyone, my name is Brandon Whitaker, but you probably know it from the name channel. I support the gore and disturbing because I know that one day no one else will, and it will simply cease. Now that being said, I will go over all the reasons why, and we're gonna do that right now. Now, number one is because everyone has become so sensitive that it's just worrying. Now, it's pretty hard for me to compress all the history of people being sensitive throughout the years. So I've turned to one source. His name is Leon Lush, and I've been following him for 3 years. He's gone over just how people from my age or older just, ticked off by the most trivial, insignificant things. And yeah, I learned a lot of things from it, like how people my age, for some reason, are calling using your imagination reality shifting, which is worrying because that only means they don't really use their imagination that much. So yeah, you can probably see why this is a problem. Next thing is being against accessibility from how basic it is. Now, I already know I'm gonna rattle a lot of people's feathers for saying this, but Puss in Boots, it's very safe, it's very basic. All right, there is a reason why it took 11 years to make the sequel. It's not because they decided to do this on purpose and wait. No, here's what happened. DreamWorks, got into a meeting and they said, "All right, we need a movie for DreamWorks this year. All right, get in the catalog. What do we have? Oh, we have Puss in Boots. All right, let's make a Puss in Boots. That seems all right." And that's how it went down. There was no passion behind it. This doesn't happen organically, just waiting 11 years for a sequel. No, they decided to do this because it's safe and it's not big and people will be okay with it. That being said, this other thing, right? Just come here for a second. Come here for a second. You see that right there? You see that right there? It's called PG, which stands for parental guidance because this is a kids movie. Now, of course, people are gonna use the response that, "Oh no, 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 it's not a kids movie because it has a lot of adult themes and jokes in it." Well, all right, look right there. That's SpongeBob. You see that? That's a rape joke. That's a joke about prison rape, and this was all the way in the 1990s. You see on the right side, that's Tom and Jerry, which is a suicide joke. They're waiting on the train tracks for a train to hit them. You know, adult themes have always been in kids' cartoons. This doesn't mean that kids notice them, but they've always been there. So to use this excuse is just nonsensical because this has always been the case. Even the fucking Alvin and the Chipmunks things had like a lot of adult themes. Like no one really likes them, but they did have them. So to just say that it's just ignoring everything else that came before this specific thing. And that being said, I can understand that. Yeah, a lot of the gory stuff we have, it kind of sucks. I watched Cocaine Bear. 6 out of 10. False advertising. It's nothing like the trailers. This is not going to be a funny romp about a bear acting like a stoner hippie. No, it's a goddamn nightmare. It's a murderous bear chasing people, and yeah, the comedy is just the flashbacks in it. They don't use flashbacks right. It's just upsetting. And then you have Scream Sits, also 6 out of 10. I haven't seen any other Screams, but I can understand how they work, and yeah, they got this one wrong. They tried doing a meta thing, but with mainstream stuff. It didn't work because it doesn't really follow them. They did this thing where they said, "Oh, Luke Skywalker and Tony Stark died so that their franchises could live," even though it was the complete opposite of that. The moment Luke Skywalker and Tony Stark died was the day their franchises had an expiration date because they carried them. They've always carried them. Like if you're a fan of either one, you know that it started off with those two. So to use that for this is nonsensical. Then he said, yeah, it just tried to go for this mainstream thing, and it just didn't work. Now, even though these two suck, I still supported them because this is what I got for now until things get better. So hopefully things get better. That being said, Evil Dead Rise is coming up, and I'll check that out. I already know it's gonna suck, and I've already seen the fan reactions. They said it sucked, and Bruce Campbell basically just told them to shut the fuck up, which I'll be honest, not very professional. Like the fan has all the reason to say it sucks, considering they paid for it and they probably just supported you and Sam Raimi's goofiness for a lot longer than I thought they should have, honestly. But I'll still check it out because it's all I got. So hopefully things get better. And then you have this double the accessibility. This right here is only made for the sake of being entertained. If you have seen one of the avatars, you've probably seen all of them. No, people have already said that the second one's just the same as the first one. I've seen the first, not the second, because it's a waste of time. I'm not doing that. All right, I've already seen the reviews. Everyone's admitted it. They've agreed upon it. So, yeah, this is a bar way lower than Scream Sits, because Scream Sits at least tried to do something different. Even if it didn't work, even if it was sort of mainstream, it still tried. This is not going for anything. It's just a bunch of visual effects and just James Cameron's ego. And that's it. It's going to make a lot of money because it's the most accessible thing out there, and there's just no stopping that. That being said, let's go on to the protesters. Of course, the people who just don't like it. We don't like violence in movies. We like real violence. We like riots. We like making crowds to intimidate people. You have them everywhere. The mothers in Milwaukee, the mommy bloggers, anti-gun protesters, just regular university students, just all these people would happily see all this vanish because it's violence. Never mind, it's not real. Never mind, a lot of it doesn't even use guns. Like slashers, it's kind of ridiculous to think slasher villains use guns. No, they don't. I mean, Scream Six did, but again, that tried to be mainstream. So that's just like an anomaly. But yeah, people like this, they're spreading everywhere. The numbers are only going to grow. So, it's just people's job like me to just push back and say, no, we're not gonna let you take this away from us because of your weird activism, some bubble of an ideology that you have. You know, just don't like it. Now, that being said, I think we need to address the hijacking of franchises to be more safe and more, I don't know, is it called mainstream if no one really cares? It's more like just I don't know. What if the anti-gun protester just tried taking on this? Like Halloween Kills, the Texas Chainsaw thing, like yeah, they're gory and stuff, but one, no soul, and two, these were really just people. A lot of people piggybacked on these for some sort of activism. Halloween Kills, apparently, I don't know. Jamie Lee Curtis talked about Black Lives Matter, even though this had nothing to do with it. And then the Chainsaw Massacre is just Gen Z slasher the movie. It's just downright embarrassing. I don't recommend either of these two because I wouldn't even put them in this. Like, they're not disturbing. Like, you get the gore, but they're not disturbing. It's like trying to have your cake and eat it too. Halloween Kills is just very on the nose. No new ideas. Doesn't even try to go mainstream. Chainsaw Massacre is just aping off Halloween. They both do the thing where the woman from a very long time ago goes back to kill Michael Myers, which is just stupid for both of them. Like, why would you want to go back to the person who almost killed you years ago? Like, that's just extremely traumatic. You would want to stay far away from that as possible. So yeah, just don't, just, keep an eye out for stuff like this. It's still a step down from Scream Six. And yeah, that being said. One like for me is a life for grotesque because that is who I am. I just like this stuff. I like the gore and I like the disturbing. I can't do it when it's just a guy shooting someone and then being done with it. It's got to be tense. It's got to be slow. It's got to be personal. It's got to be almost like you're right there next to it. Like almost. I don't want to be an assailant or anything. Being said, check out my book. Link in the description. And then follow me on Rumble, Odyssey, Minds, Locals, like, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Take care.